to the channel, or welcome in general, with your host, The Shy Guy. Today is the second episode to our series of Kickstart Eurostar. Feel free to skip for the next, 2 or 3 minutes of just explaining what this series is. Brief introduction to the series. Kickstart Eurostar Beats is Series 1 on the blogging series of The Shy Guy reviewing Eurobeat. Here's how I'll be reviewing it. It's a 1 to 5 stars ratio, no half stars, of how vibrant a song can get, plus additional comments on how the album is in general and the cover art itself. Also, depending on how long the series is or how many songs are in that album, I might be obliged to review more than one album in a video. So we can really define or encourage you to take this path into Eurobeat. So, introduction to this series in this episode. If you've watched the first episode, we talked about the Super Eurobeat series, which is the biggest series out of the whole of the Eurobeat genre. But what I briefly touched upon was the Beat Freak series, which was the sort of main original as to where Super Eurobeat actually started from. So today we will be talking about the Beat Freak series. So, date released is the 21st of February 1990. How far did the series run on from? Well, 8 volumes, but there's a couple of others in the actual Beat Freak label itself. Those series is Super Eurobeat Bats Edition, Bats Eurobeat, which I think ran on for maybe 3 or 4 volumes. Super Eurobeat Series 1990, Italo, I'm pretty sure that's how you're pronouncing it, Italo Beat Mix. Again, it's probably like 3 or 4 odd volumes. You've got Super Club Compilation Volume 1, which is just that, stands on its own, which is more or less not Eurobeat, it's like club, house, disco, sort of whatever was banging on around the time of the late 1980s, early 1990s. The original Mega Mix, run by the label itself, but there was only 1 volume produced, so I'm not sure whether to cover it, but I'll just make you at least aware of it. All of this information can be found on Discogs itself. Discogs, unfortunately, is fan contribution, so if there are things I've missed, or, inaccuracy, or, if it's accurate or not, I don't know. A lot of Eurobeat is just fan contribution. There's not really any hardcore facts. And like I said before in my introduction video, or my reintroduction video, most of this stuff will just be pretty opinionated. So, how popular do I think this series is? Well, unless you know that this is the original series of Super Eurobeat, I don't think many people know this. But surprisingly, when I have mentioned it, I did actually find a fan of the Beat Freak series. So, this video is actually might be a little bit different. Who knows? It is a collaboration of some sort. If you are on Reddit, you will probably know, if you're in either the Eurobeat Reddit or the Italo Disco Reddit, you might know the user SEBFan. This is the collaboration that we've done together a little bit on this. And I have said on my Reddit as well, which I'm not really active on, so please don't DM so much, just follow me on my other social medias. But if you want to follow me on Reddit, that's completely up to you. I am open to collaborations. This is generally because we need to bring the community, we need to unite the community a lot more, like a heck ton more. I at least know for maybe a planned video in the future, if I go to review Dave Rogers songs, I want to make that quite a big community episode because, well, I'm not going to spoil that one for sure, but, if you want to hop on, or if you want to, discuss any albums or series that you like, and, you just want to voice your opinions, honestly, get in touch. Anywho, let's get into this. So, first track is Loverboy by Albert 1, which is on the Super Eurobeat Volume 1 in the Beat Freak. Alberto Pani? Oh, jeez. I apologize in advance. It's hard to pronounce Italian names, but that's no excuse as a British person. So Alberto Campani, that's how I'm gonna go with it. Time Records, and I said 1989. It's a cut song, so it's been cut, and there's an extended version out there. But unlike Volume 2, I will just review this song in the format it comes on Volume 1, which is 4 minutes and 7 seconds, while the extended version, or 12-inch vinyls as it is 5 minutes and 20 seconds. And this is what SEB Fan from Reddit has to say about this one. Quote, Albert One Loverboy. A perfect blend of the Italo disco sound with a more aggressive synthesizer of the Eurobeat sound. The forceful vocal notes in the chorus with the female backing vocals gives the track its punch. The track was featured on the very first Super Eurobeat, and so for that I commend this track as Eurobeat. Quote. Yeah, I would probably predominantly maybe agree with that statement. I mean, I don't entirely find it as like a breakthrough song, unlike, Hero by Aleph or Divine. To me, it feels more like a Italo disco song, but, I guess maybe it could be a Eurobeat song in a way. Track number 2, Black Box, Ride on Time, 3 stars out of 5. Black Box is currently made up of, it's more or less, I think, house, like club music. I think I'm aware of like who they are. I think I've heard of the name somewhere, but I'm not entirely too sure. I think they're also like British as well. I believe I've heard this song somewhere in my childhood. Car radios in general. It's by XYZ Records as it is. Comes out in 1989. Either way, I think, despite it just being noises, and it's far from Eurobeat, I don't even know why it's on this volume as it is. It just doesn't even fit. But I do like the song. So, it's far from Eurobeat. I would say Black Box is more like house. If anything, it's a good song to have at least at the beginning of the album. I'll give you that. So, track number 3, so it says in my script, but track number 2 of Volume 2, Super Eurobeat by Beat Freak. Malin Rogue. Malin Rogue. I think that's how you pronounce that one. Baby, I Miss You. 2 stars out of 5. 1989. See, the thing is, when it comes to non-stops, is that it just jumps straight into the verse as it is. Not complaining, seeing that the extended version is just Italo disco. It's going to have the long intro. It's also okay because I'm not entirely too keen on this song, so the fact that I'm not listening to 5 minutes of absolute nonsense, it's okay, because you just jump straight in and then it's just over and done with. Track number 3, Alan Barclay, Always For Me. I mean, for any typical early days song for Asia Records, it's decent enough, but it's just a little hard to get into. It's not very memorable, although I am a sucker for Asia Records, especially after going in for the 2 sets it has in its catalogue. So yes, decent to some extent in its romance. Track number 4 now. Adriana, Sunny Day, 3 stars out of 5. This is the Finzi Records one, 1989. I don't even think I really know Finzi Records. I think I know the name, but I don't think I know it. There isn't much to the lyrics, it's just a melody for a good proportion. But can I stress the pre-chorus of the song dipping in melody? That's what I like to hear in songs, if done right, of course, but 99.9% of the time, it can be done beautiful. We'll take a small listen to that one. However, does it make me think of Sunny Days? Well, yeah, I mean, to some extent. You don't really get many sunny days from where I am in Britain. But it's sweet, it's soft, it's romantic, and you could imagine yourself frolicking or canoodling in sunlit fields. Perhaps in the afternoon, morning, or the evening. Track number 5. Last Train, 4 stars out of 5. Discoland, 1989. Now each time I've sent this song across the vast range of social media, have absolutely adored this. I have no idea what this song is meant to be. Like, generally. Like, why does it exist? But oh lord, who knows? But it just gives you that very, it just gives you that atmospheric scene in your mind. You've got goosebumps and the chilling feeling of someone walking over your own grave. Very 1980s too, I must say. And if anything, it's like good potential to make a music video to this. Or at least try to paint the image in my mind to all of you. There is like some form of like lyrics or some form of like actual song in itself, but if anything, it's more or less just a sort of like instrumental piece, even in the extended version itself. But that even comes to the point in Italo disco. I think one playlist that I have saved to my channel, so you might want to check that out. Maybe I'll put a link in the description itself. Some form of weird sci-fi space instrumental pieces in the Italo disco genre. There's no talking in it, it's just Italo disco, sound like space and sci-fi. It's incredibly strange, but it is really quite fascinating at the same time. Track number 7 with If and the song Jealousy, 4 stars out of 5. Stephen Eden, Zelig, Expanded Music, 1989. Ah, the chorus. Cannot express my delight any further. In that melody, but the passion right there. Despite the topic being so unfortunate, it's a man being... Is it a man being jealous? No, how does that even work? If it was a man being jealous, and he says, another woman... See, this is what happens when you don't have lyrics, and you're guessing the lyrics. You can't entirely tell what the song... Unless the vocals and the lyrics are really clear in the song, you sort of end up guessing a little bit the gist if there is no proper lyrics to follow. Anyways, no matter which gender is being jealous of which gender, that's just a thing. The pre-chorus is really good. Unfortunately, the song cuts off so suddenly in this version. I'm not sure if that actually happens on the album or if it was an error on the video by Tofu Drifter 44, but who knows. But at least this one makes me want to listen to the extended version, which is really good. So we're going to take a little listen to the pre-chorus and the chorus because I just cannot express my delight enough for this song. Track 8, Jasmine with Close to You, TSOB production 1990. Fortunately, we don't know who the vocalist is, Discogs doesn't say, and that's that. This one is starting to remind me a little bit of track 3 with Baby I Miss You. The verses are fine from what I was listening to, but the chorus, no, it's just flat. I mean, the build-up is there, but for what? Moving on. Track number 9. Alpha Town, Hot Stuff. 2 stars out of 5. As we all know, Mauro Farina, Asia Records, 1989. I have a soft spot for Alpha Town, let's make that one clear. But there's only really like 3 songs that fuel the Alpha Town vibe. This one is on the borderline for me. It is a hot song, but it feels like it lacks a little something. But considering this is Asia Records still in the early days, I expect they're still trying to find their feet. But as saying on the Borderline stuff, I fear the only Alpha Town songs I actually really like by them is Power of My Love, Power of Magic, Hero Samurai, and Super Eurobeat. But then I don't really include Hero Samurai as much because it's Alpha Town 2000, but that's just Alpha Town being modern. But still, hot stuff. It needs a bit of a kick. Just needs a bit of a kick. Then it could probably be better and stuff. But I do like the song. Just needs a kick, like I say. Next up is Hero and Aleph and Dave Rogers and all that. Since we just reviewed this in the last episode, I'm not going to be reviewing it because there's no need to do it. Unless there was a significant difference between this cut and the cut in SUB Volume 1, but there is not. It's just tiny little tweaks, so there's no need to mention it at all. Track number 11 with Mila and Every Time You Make Me Right. 2 stars out of 5. Andrea Del Feno, yet again, Asia Records, 1989. We're getting there. There's 17 tracks in total, so we're just about 6 more tracks to go. Mila is another one of these tricky aliases for me. I just don't really like her at all. I mean, going through the entire Asia Records early catalogue of the 90s, all the way up to 1989, I think that's when it sort of went into its own style and started experimenting a lot better then. But all the Italo disco stuff with the Mila alias, I can't grasp a hold of it. I think there's another one I don't like, which is Jenny Key. I just named it at the top of my head. But they're just tricky. I just don't like them. I can't stand them, for that matter. Even though they are sitting in my playlists, I just don't really like them. There's not really much I can say for this lovey-dovey song. Again, early days of Asia Records. Track 12, McBrien, Loving You Forever. 4 stars out of 5. High Energy label, 1989. Wait, was that a transition between this song and the last song? I don't know, but the vocals, wowzers. The lyrics are standard Italo disco, which makes me go all soft. Melody feels a bit random, but it works, I have to say. Track number 13 now, of Lisa Johnson and Listen. This song is also on Super Eurobeat Volume 2. 1 star, Clara Moroni, Time Records, 1989. As stated on episode 1, I too also have a problem with this alias. That I just don't like it, and this version doesn't do anything different. Fun fact, I also get this one confused with Linda Ross, which is also Clara Ramone. Track 14, Chip Chip, Let Me Give You All My Love, 2 stars out of 5. Elena Ferretti, Flea Records, 1989. Flea Records is honestly such a bizarre label. I don't even like it for so many reasons, but the aliases they have under it, the style that Flea Records comes in is so bizarre. I like the fact that it is different. I don't even think it's Eurobeat itself. I think it is just kind of Italo disco. I've not really explored it properly. But these are the ones with Chip Chip, or Cuckoo, King Jong and the D Jungle Girls, which are all on this album as it is, but Flea Records, it's a completely different thing. For some reason there was 2 versions of the song on here, don't ask, but I'm reviewing the longer version as the short version is nothing but the melody and a few lyrics. Maybe it was added as a transition from side 1 to side 2. Wait, no, ignore that. I don't know what I'm on about. But anyways, for the second viewing on this album, I expect the song to be quite soft, like most of Elena's song, but to me it's a little too hard and thumping to even enjoy. But that's Flea Records. Flea Records is not really... Because the fact that I said it's bizarre, it's not even a soft alias. I mean, not alias, it's not even a soft label. Apart from Island by Coy McCoy, but that's Gianni, Ken Laszlo and Dave Rogers. But other than that, Flea Records, I don't even think people even know it. But you'll probably know the logo, at least the little mascot, when you see it, but I have no idea who even owns it, what they were trying to do, and why it even exists. But it exists, and it's there, and I do want to review this, the whole label, just to show how weird it is, at least. Track 15, and we've got 2 more to go on this. Cuckoo, Happy Days, yeah, Flea Records. 1 star. Mauro Farina. Yeah, Mauro Farina is in Flea Records quite a bit, but he's everywhere as well. 1989, like most of the songs here. Cuckoo and Flea Records, oh yeah, as it says here, Cuckoo and Flea Records is an acquired taste, in my opinion. This is a good dancing song, good melody, and it's got quite a nice flow. But like I said, it's an acquired taste. It would be a song that I would probably want to try, because, want to try at least one song from every label that there is, but I can't get into this one. Track 16, King Kong and D Jungle Girls, with Walkie Talkie, 3 stars out of 5. Mara Farina, and the backing vocals, which is uncredited, at least as far as Discogs says, but it's Eleanor Ferretti. Also Flea Records, as I just stated, 1989. I don't even think I used to like this song in the beginning. King Kong and the Jungle Girls is such a weird alias. Not even because of the name, but they have like a couple of songs under Flea Records, and you know it's gonna be a Flea Records track. But I don't think I used to like the song in the beginning, and I can't seem to understand why. Because, if anything, the song is quite packed, and it flows rather nicely for Flea Records. Like, it dips, but it just doesn't. Like, the song dips, but then it doesn't. It's just a nice steady wave, and Mauro is really good for the vocals. And last but not least, we are finally on our last track. Track 17, with Linda Ross, Touch Me, 3 stars out of 5, Clara Moroni, Time Records, and good old 1989. I really never used to like this song, but on a second listen to the entire Super Eurobeat series, I grew to like it. It's atmospheric, it sets a good mood of some kind of heartbreak and loss, but I'm not sure if it's a song I would use to wrap up the end of the volume. That's my only problem here. Maybe you should have used Walkie Talkie as your wrap-up song, or at least some Flea Records song. Touch Me, because it's Time Records, it just doesn't feel right. It's not a good ending, closing song. I think anything if Touch Me in Super Eurobeat Volume 2 is either at the start or in the middle of the track list. Additional comments to Super Eurobeat Volume 2 in the Beat Freak era. We'll start off with the quote from SEB fan from Reddit. He says, "The overall sound of the volume to me is Eurobeat has definitely characterized its own sound from Italo disco." To me, that's a bit debatable, but I like that. There's more of a profound drum and bass, and tracks have a certain groove to them. There's more creative freedom in the tracks with Eurobeat being, at the time, new genre, and there was no formula to follow. Mauro Farina has definitely put a signature stamp on the genre at this point of Eurobeat. And then he said, "The thing is, once Avex took over the Super Eurobeat series, the idea was to release the CDs in extended format. I would think this was because the vinyls were released in Italy mostly at the time, but the CDs were sold exclusively in Japan, so having the extended versions made the Japanese buyers feel like they owned the track." I'm not saying that the Beat Freak series is a non-stop completely, because there isn't really any transitions between each song as we know what a non-stop is, but that's the thing. Once Avex overtook Beat Freaks Volume 1 and then made a completely different direction and went so far away from, volumes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you look at the track listings of the Beat Freak, they're completely way, way, way in a different direction from what Avex has done. I don't know if Avex maybe re-released the Beat Freaks and claimed Beat Freaks as a label. There's not really much information on that, but that is a good factor. Avex has just released, extended versions, considering you wouldn't really get Because then maybe CDs are much cheaper to like import than vinyls. I'm not entirely too sure. I'm not a vinyl collector, as someone who is from this generation thinks that they're in the 20th century century as well, which is like kind of bizarre considering the fact that vinyls were at least around in 50s and 60s, and the fact is that I don't even like them. I don't even like cassette tapes as well. VHS tapes are interesting though, but that's a different story. For my additional comments, my own opinion, for me, I really enjoy this volume. In fact, when I first listened to it, and shout out to Tofu Drifter 44 for having this playlist on his channel, links down in the description for that. Give a like, give a subscribe to his channel as well, and try to support the artists at least behind this volume if you can. There are a few copies of this going around on Japan Yahoo auctions. Now, during the analysis listen to this volume, I have noticed that this isn't your typical non-stop, and I don't even think it's a non-stop in general. I don't even know why I think it's a non-stop. Maybe because I just saw the figures and thought it was a non-stop. But there are no transitions, so now I'm at a loss of what at least on what Beat Freak were trying to do. But at the end of the day, who really cares? As long as the music is out there, that's all I need. So overall, I would give the volume 3 stars out of 5, and I would definitely recommend it if you are interested in the early days of Eurobeat, and exclusively the very early days before AVEX. And that is it for this episode. And as most YouTubers say, like, subscribe, comment down below. I much just prefer to round off the video as stick around for the content to come.